What's going on, guys? Winter Kills here, and welcome back to another feature match. Today we've got BA versus Striker Orcust here in round 3, and as we get started, I want to mention, if you guys are picking up anything on TCG Player, don't forget to use my affiliate link down in the description below. Should be that first link when you go down there. So getting started with the Mathematician, couldn't ask for a better opening card here. Mathematician plus like Gallus is a really strong opening. So we're going to go ahead and link off that O-Lion token. Of course, O-Lion, when it hits the grave, will summon a level 3 token, which will allow us to go into Cherubini, because Cherubini is super cool and says the monsters that you use for it just have to be 2 level 3s. Doesn't matter if you use a token or not. So we're going to go ahead and send that graph off Cherubini, and of course, that's going to be able to summon Seer. And then it gets even better. Going to go ahead and resolve Aseka's Light to dig into 2 more cards. Looks like I picked up Dotscaper and a Block Dragon. Or a Mathematician, actually. Dotscaper and Mathematician. So we're going to put back that other Mathematician off the Aseka's Light graveyard effect. And we're going to try and draw in something else before we try to go into a Dante and try to start milling some cards. Actually pick up a Block Dragon here for turn. And we're going to go ahead and reveal a Danger Snack and see if we can hit one of those cards in our hand, whether it be the Rhino Warrior I have or the Block Dragon. Ends up being the Rhino Warrior, which comes in super clutch here, which is going to go ahead and dump that Egypt Sabers to the graveyard. Now, at this point, with having access to pretty much all the key pieces we need for our combo, which is, Cherubini being established, Dante all ready to go, and a Block Dragon within our grasp. It's looking to be a pretty solid turn, milling a Gigantes, a Hydralander, and a Wielder off of that Dante, so pretty solid mills there. We're going to go ahead and summon out the Block Dragon and banish the Giant Rex. So we pretty much have everything we need this turn. It was a really solid opening. We're going to go into our 4 Chainlink madness here with the Saryuja. Saryuja Chainlink 1, Block Dragon Chainlink 2, Seer Chainlink 3, Dante Chainlink 4, Dante adding back Seer, Seer summoning Dante, Block Dragon adding Fossil Dyna and Gigantes. And Saryuja, of course, last but most importantly, going to draw us 4 cards here. I think I'd pick up another Block Dragon, Aseka's Light, which is definitely going to go back. I think I'd pick up a Gallus as well. Definitely going to put back that Seer. Nice thing about Dante is it always provides a Chainlink block and gives you a free card back in your hand to put back off Saryuja. Going to start with that Gallus now, post Saryuja, and mill a Mathematician, so it'll take 600. Going to start with another Block Dragon, banishing Dotscaper, Mathematician, and that Venus Rhino Warrior, and Dotscaper's, of course, going to come back. Now, since I have the materials needed, I'm going to go right into Curious because we have yet to see a glow-up bulb, so I'm going to do that now and send the glow-up bulb off the Curious to get our Nat Beast all set up. And my opponent is going to see a Nat Beast coming, and he's just going to go ahead and scoop. His hand must have probably been all spells, and, playing Striker Orcust, that is not, an unlikely thing to happen. So we're going to go ahead into Game 2 just right quick. I had enough for full combo 100%. Starting with Orchestrated Turn, and then Allure of Darkness. So much draw power in this Striker Orcust deck, it's kind of absurd. And then you add Engage on top of that. It's just like, what do you do to this deck in January? I think you have to hit something on both sides. I think Engage has to be hit, no doubt, and I think something on the Orcust has to be hit, no doubt. I think it has to be either Galatea going to 1, maybe Nightmare going to 1, whatever it may be. I feel like there has to be something addressed there. I don't know. I don't think anything in Orcust is needing of a ban. I just think we need a hit that will slow the deck down, significantly. That makes it not, the overall tier 1 contender that can be splashed into anything. Gonna resolve another Allure of Darkness here. I believe it also has an Engage in hand now, so the hand is just looking absurd at this point, as it usually does with Striker Orcust. So having a few options, but can't really get to that Engage just yet until he links off that Scrap Recycler. And probably going into, a Barricade Borg Blocker, because just a free discard at no cost is, pretty cool. The whole end phase effect really doesn't matter. Nobody ever really uses it for the most part. You just go into it for that free discard, and oh, look at that, it's a Dark Machine. So we're going to discard the Orcust Nightmare, and then I believe sending Wand off of that Nightmare, and then Engage Funness happening. Going to add Widow Anchor. and then bonus card incoming. That free draw because, you know, a search, a not once per turn search wasn't enough. Now banishing Harp Horror here off of its own effect. First one being banished off Allure of Darkness. It's not a double Harp activation, so don't worry. And now going to link off with a Nightmare and the Barricade Borg blocker into a copy of Galatea. Now, probably going to either use the wand or the Galatea effect, but getting started with a wand. Now, at this point, the priority is to set up that IP board, IP Masquerena with a loaded graveyard, with your field spell up, just to basically shut down any plays that your opponent might make, because Zeraboros is a fair and balanced card. The card is just, like, that IP board is so hard to deal with unless you have something like a Kaiju. Or Dark Ruler No More, which I think going forward in my side deck for BA, I'm probably going to drop the Evenly Matched for Dark Ruler No More, just because I feel like my deck has a hard time going against combo decks itself. I'm going against this board in particular because the IP board is so slippery to, like, try to, you know, play around, because they can just dodge so many things. They can activate so many effects that are in the graveyard, and I feel like if you have the opportunity to immediately turn off that IP with them not being able to respond, you know, it just becomes super easy at that point. And I figured since people are already citing Lancia for a deck like mine, Evenly Matched is just probably going to be met with those same side deck cards alongside my normal engine. So I feel like I'm probably going to drop the Evenlies going forward for Dark Rulers, perhaps. I don't know. I might change it for something else. I'm pretty unsure at this point, but that's just something I've been looking to as a sort of an alternative. I might play Kaijus, actually, like Humongous, but nonetheless, trying to get started here with the Mathematician, the most loyal card next to Tour Guide. So he has IP, Galatea, so Zeraboros is readily accessible. He's going to go ahead and chain and set that Crescendo from his deck. He also has 2 cards set as well. Could probably bet that one is probably Widow Anchor. We saw him add that earlier. Maybe one could be something else completely. Who knows? So at this point, I think I open the O-Lion. So I'm going to opt to send Fiendish Rhino Warrior here, which is a good middle ground, because a lot of times Fiendish Rhino Warrior does fall victim to cards like Ash Blossom and Call By against people who don't really know the more important parts of this deck strategy. So a lot of times Fiendish Rhino Warrior is sort of a good middle ground, and it's just really good bait a lot of times for cards like Ash and Call By the Grave. Now moving on here with the Gallus, it's going to mill a Block Dragon off the top, so we're going to burn for 16, dropping him down to 64. It's always nice milling a Block Dragon or a Hydra Lantern, just take a lot of damage immediately. We've got a Sekka's Light in hand, as well as a Sea Archiver, so some plays could be made here. I don't think I had that Sekka's Light in my opening hand, and then if I did, I probably should have put it on the board when he summoned that Galatea to the IP. I just either didn't have it in my opening hand or just didn't think about it. But now we're going to get started with Nessie, and he's going to go ahead and roll. Rolls a 2, ends up hitting a Block Dragon out of my hand, I believe, and then the Nessie will go through. We'll pick up another card here, and, or no, he hits the Sea Archiver out of the hand, which is really clutch. So at this point, I'm trying to just get it, like, at this point, it's like, what do? I'm completely at the will of his IP Masquerena. And not only just that, but he also has a live symbol with Ding engraved too. So there's just so many layers of things I have to try to get through. So we're going to go for the Psychic Wielder. And again, the only thing I can really try to go for at this point that will pose some sort of a threat is an Appaloosa, which is what I can try to make at this given moment. And which is what I assume he'll try to do, because if the Zeraboros comes out right now, and I have still a good enough cards to work with in my hand, 3 cards to be exact, you know, there's still some grounds to make a play. Let's say if there's a Gallus and a Tracker in my hand, you know, I could potentially still try to go for full combo. So he's going to check his back row real quick. But it's got to be, like, any striker cards, there's no reason to check at this point, just because he literally can't use them because, you know, there's monsters in his main monster zone. But, of course, as you could expect, going for Zeraboros. Now, chaining to the summon, Harp Horror, and just going to go ahead and start playing on my turn. And go ahead and use a Nightmare. So, Nightmare Chainlink 2, Harp Chainlink 1. Going to dump Symbol Skeleton and summon Nightmare. And then, of course, Zeroboros will activate, and he'll just start banishing literally everything on the entire field. And then during his next standby phase, of course, that Zeroboros is coming back, but gaining 200 attack for every card banished. So it'll come back with a lot of attack, probably over 5k. So we're going to use Sekka's Light's Graveyard effect now to put back that pesky O-Lion back into the deck to try to draw into something better. Literally anything will do at this point. So I believe I have a Gallus in hand. I think I pick up a Glow-Up Bulb for that draw. So, and I actually end up milling another Block Dragon. I know you guys can't see it, but I went back and looked at the live footage. And I said, oh, I'll mill another Block Dragon, you know, take 16. And you'll see me banish the Block Dragon later. But at this point, like, it's just super unlucky that I happen to not draw into, like, another level 3 extender. It's just not much I can do. And even if I did have, for say, like, a tracker at this point, or something else I could make, like another Gallus perhaps, he has Ding. He has a Ding send, so if I can even get into Cherubini, he can just send the Cherubini, and then it's just still very hard to combo from that point out. Especially with the Zeroboros coming back. Now, as it stands, I could summon a Block Dragon. And I could have summoned my Gallus in attack position. Swung for 8, and then swung for 25. Almost game, thanks to burning him for 32. With double Block Dragon off Gallus. Again, there's literally nothing in my extra deck I want to make right now. I might as well keep both of these bodies on field to try to block more damage. I've already normal summoned. And Big Daddy Zeroboros is coming back in the standby phase, so things are looking pretty grim, rather, at this point. So, I mean, granted, he did banish the Babble. Did that for me, so that's good. Now coming back in the standby phase, making sure that Zeroboros isn't pointing to any extra monster zones to lock both players out of them. Checking Graveyard now. Pretty easy path to victory at this point, if you ask me. Still has Symbol Engraved, still has Wand as well, which is pretty important. Be able to retrieve back Harp or Nightmare if need be, because I believe all of his Nightmares are banished at this point. But Galatea, of course, will help get those back. Symbol, bring back Galatea. Now Wand activating. Gonna summon out Nightmare, and then recycle the Skeleton back into the deck. Probably for, actually, I believe probably no targets left at this point. Surprisingly enough, there is no other copies of Return in the deck. And if there is, just opting to not go for them, it would seem. But linking Galatea and Nightmare into Nightmare Unicorn. Gonna discard the Hornet Drones to spin back that Block Dragon. And then, at this point, still, actually no, it does not have access to Symbol. The Symbol was used already. Sending Nightmare to boost up the already boosted Zeroboros, and we're just going to head into Game 3. And as we do, I want to mention a quick shout out to Imperium Duelist, of course. You guys are just that playmat that I'm using there over on the left. That is from Imperium Duelist. Same thing with the sleeves that I'm rocking. Check them out down in the description below. They've got some deck boxes, a new deck box actually, and some new playmat bags featuring some amazing artwork of El Shaddoll Construct, Necros of Gungnir, things like that. Absolutely amazing. They're out right now, I believe, or coming out very soon. I believe the bags might already be out. But yeah, use that discount code WinnerKills10 off at checkout to save 10% off your entire order and help save some money, help support the channel, all that stuff. So WinnerKills10 off. But yeah, getting back to the game here, Snet going through, and then I go to reveal Jackalope, and hoping that he doesn't pick the Jackalope, but to my dismay, he does, summoning out the Nessie. And the reason I didn't summon out Snack is because I sided out a copy of Sack for a Snack for a side deck card I didn't draw. Now, to be fair, I probably should have just sided out all of my sided cards for Game 3, knowing that I was going first, because usually my first turn board, you know, not trying to lower the consistency of normal combo pieces is just not worth putting in if I know I'm going first, and sometimes I still do that just because I second guess myself. So I sided out the Snack, and that ended up pretty much hurting a lot, and he also has Ash for the Graph, which also hurts a lot. But still able to get into Dante because of Edgem Sabers and Sea Archiver, milling 3 off the top, and couldn't have gotten probably worse mills. If I would have milled a Block Dragon, if I would have seen a Block Dragon in my opening hand, this game probably would be, you know, ending a bit differently, because I believe I have 3 Earths in grave. Yeah, I have plenty of Earths in grave at this point. And the fact that I can't get access to Seer means I can only end on Appaloosa, and nothing else with 3 negates. It's better than nothing. Dante is going to go ahead and recycle the Cherubini just in case I get another chance. If I top deck something like Tour Guide, or if I top deck something like Mathematician, if I get another chance of going through Cherubini again, I can. So Dante's just going to go ahead and recycle that. Upstart's going to be played here, giving me an additional 1,000. And then playing Orchestrated Return, and of course Allure of Darkness again, must be nice. And banishing Harp Horror, but it doesn't matter because he has Wand Engrave. We've also has a copy of Lancia in hand too. Had no need to use actually during my turn. And I think he actually drew that off of his return. Already drawing 5 cards this turn on the side for Orcust. But has a Lancia to shut down potentially plays I try to make the following turn with my Appaloosa. So again, it's now he uses Wand, and this I should have negated 100%. Not negating that was probably the biggest mistake I made. Now, granted, he did have a Harp Horror in hand as a normal summon. If I negate this, I don't give him access to Galatea, which means I don't give him access to Dingirsu. A huge misplay. Looking back at this now, it's just completely obvious to me. I don't know why I didn't negate the Wand. Because if I do negate the Wand, he doesn't get Harp on board, but he can still normal Harp. He can still attack over Appaloosa for 100, but that's about all he can do. And I don't give him a ding. I don't give him a free detach to put this back in his graveyard. I don't give him access to, like, all of this really good stuff. Huge misplay on my behalf. I was a little bit tilted. I didn't open any side deck cards. A little tilted that my opening hand was rather subpar. And I guess I just did not think. I'm like, oh yeah, negating the Wand would probably be a pretty good thing to do. To not give him access to Harp Horror. And just sort of have to call his bluff. But again, I mean, I give him attack with the symbols. You know, in the battle phase, using that quick effect now thanks to Babel. And then main phase 2 linking off into another Galatea. And then getting Crescendo to try and seal the deal. But at this point, if I negate that Wand, things are looking a lot different. 100%. Now, that doesn't change too much, though. He would still be able to run over my Appaloosa for 100. And I'd still be top decking the same card that I'm top decking, which is this Dotscaper. Now, with that being said, I can make a play. I can stack the card back to the top of my deck, summon the Edgem Sabers to the zone that Galatea points to. Well, it's actually not pointing to any zones currently. Or yes, it is. It would be pointing to a zone. And then I'd be able to summon Sea Archiver and make something. But I'm just trying to draw into something better. And I end up drawing into a Phantasme, which is really not good. If I would have just had like any extra cards to work with in my hand, anything at all like that, it would have just been so much better. 100%. So I'm just going to pass because I put that back Dotscaper, draw to that side deck card at literally the worst time possible, and this is what I get for siding in game 3 when I'm going to go first. It's something I probably won't keep doing going forward unless it's something I feel as though I absolutely need in a given matchup. But yeah, nonetheless, end phase going to go for Ding, and then Ding attaching the symbol, and then Harp summoning out Nightmare, and then Gizmek shenanigans as well. On top of that, going for the Gizmek, just trying to go for the OTK and end the game as quickly as possible. And Galatea also putting back the Harp, and not getting a Crescendo, which I believe he probably already has a Crescendo. Yeah, we saw him set Crescendo previously. So now he'll draw for turn, assembling already a huge field during my end phase. And, yeah, it's just going to be over at this point. My only saving grace is hoping that he links. If he makes a link monster, maybe I can survive. I'm still up a little bit thanks to an upstart goblin that as opposed to I would be without it. So I'm hoping he links, but he's just going to go ahead and normal summon the harp, and realizing that is just game in of itself. 24, 50, 17, 26, and 18 is going to be game aplenty, and that Phantasme just sitting loyally in my hand waiting for a link summon that never came, which is unfortunate. But anyways, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed Orcust taking the match 2-1 here in round 3. Round 4 feature match coming up next. Anyways, have a great one, guys. Thanks for watching. As always, Winter Kill signing out. We'll see you in the next one.